It took about 27 hours door to door to get from Birmingham to Port Elizabeth. First stop in South Africa was Cape Town, and after a 5-hour wait for the connecting flight, took off to see Cape Town in all its glory and the surrounding mountains and Table Mountain. But it was interesting to see the townships and pretty squalid conditions that many of the less lucky people lived in. Flying over the south coast of South Africa revealed lots of beautiful beaches with waves pounding into the beach. It was only a short flight. Then we arrived at Port Elizabeth, which is where we started the whole tour. Next morning, a trip to Addo Elephant Park, and saw a variety of different types of animal, mainly elephants, but including those. Lots of zebras. This is just one, but we saw many more later. But the main reason to come was to see the elephants, and there's about 500 in the game reserve, and the watering holes have been created for them. They were completely unperturbed by our van, and it was beautiful to see baby elephants rolling in the mud and playing.
Can you see the babies bathing further up at the other end? Yeah. Can you see all the little babies are rolling round in it?
The elephants walked straight past our bus, didn't seem to bother at all, but they could cause a lot of damage if they decided to run into it. If you look closely, you can see a tiny little baby elephant in the middle of all that, and they're very protective of their baby elephants. They keep them hidden usually in between all the other bigger elephants. This big elephant was walking past us and we were worried, but if you look closely you can see a little tiny baby one in there somewhere. Then we went back to base, and then the next trip was to go on the Shotia Safaris game drive. Straight out the box we saw lions, and then gnu or wildebeest, plenty of those. That's a crocodile. There are two in the park, but they're separated for some reason. Didn't move very much. This gives you an idea of what the landscape is like. It used to be a farm which was used for dairy, so all of these watering holes are man-made. Then straight into it, a lion and lioness. Couldn't believe our luck. They were only about 20 feet away, but they just didn't notice us at all, really. But if we'd got out the open-top bus, we'd have been dinner for sure. We'll see them later. They sleep for about 20 hours a day. Then, back for lunch, which was in this huge thatched stand, or lapper as they call it, and we came back here later for the evening meal. But for now we had tea and cake. Then it was back on the bus, more zebras, and then we ran into the same lion, and what followed next was surprising and not often seen.
As we said, a new definition for a quickie.
That was it, literally.
We saw lots of animals that I couldn't really take pictures of, including mongooses, and this is a rhino, which again we'll see a bit more of later. Gives you an idea of what it's like driving through the bush. Quite exhilarating in the open top Land Cruiser. Then we saw a rhino. There's a continuing battle against poachers, and they've lost rhinos. They cost a huge amount of money to replace because their horns are worth hundreds and hundreds of thousands on the black market. Poachers sell them ultimately to China and Arabs who think that they contain magical properties. The last one was killed by people flying in a helicopter to get the horn.
So what's 60,000 times 25?
Or $60,000
Times 25?
Yeah.
What is that? What's that sum?
Hell of a lot.
2.5 million.
Right.
So they charge $1,000 for it.
This giraffe was right beside us, but it refused to turn round. And after a few minutes, we drove off, only to find that it then turned round and started feeding. But then, we privileged to see this.
Wow.
Freestyle.
So elegant, aren't they? Even when they're running there, it's a lovely lolloping stride.
Then it was back to the base for a fabulous meal and drinks here, and then back out for an evening drive. They've obviously suffered badly and they've lost a lot of staff as a result of COVID, and they're struggling to keep afloat, which is a great shame. These amazing drawings are done by one of the guides who drives the Land Rovers. And here we are, Pumba. We saw quite a few of these.
I saw it's very low in rate.
The rest of the pictures after this were shot on the Lumix, and the quality isn't as good as my iPhone 14 Pro. The focus isn't as quick, it doesn't have auto stabilization, it doesn't have image processing, and it just makes you realise that although it has a long zoom, a lot of the photographs are unusable because it's useless without a tripod. Whereas the iPhone 14 Pro is unbelievable the way it copes with movement.
So this is probably 5 or 6. No,
Andrew's probably getting some. Usually, right at the back, there's an elephant on the ground. It's laying and rolling over.
Yeah, no, they do this. Yeah.
And here's the little baby one.
I can have it in my memory. Baby. Oh, you always get the little baby in your Zoom? I can't see the little baby anymore because he was trapped. He's behind his mum over there.
Your family bond.
It's gone on. Oh, that says the Jeep. Do you want to stand up beside me? Yeah, okay. Of course.
Oh, there's one of the Kruger bulls.
What, coming towards us?
Yes, in all of his glory. Excuse the.
This five-legged elephant caused a lot of amusement, but apparently it's not uncommon to see, especially when it's hot. We also saw lots of monkeys, who are a real pest apparently.
Most of the antelope, the mature males,
And lots
on their
of
own or with a female.
antelope,
The younger males
eland,
bachelor groups, females,
kudu,
family groups.
springboks and others.
It's actually
This is the male version of one of these animals. I don't know which one it is, and it looks completely different from the female. And also the younger version. That's the younger male version or the female version. These are the springboks, or springbucks, South Africa's mascot. And that's pretty much it for the day. Absolutely incredible day and well worth doing as a start to South Africa.
And you'll see the mark just below the ear there, that little brown or black mark. Normally you don't see it. And hence the nickname
These buffalo are incredibly dangerous, and they're known as widow makers because people try and hunt them and they will chase you down and kill you. They're incredibly dangerous because of their weight, their size, and they're unstoppable, and they're relentless too. People seem to think they want to show that they can shoot them, but often come off worse. And of course, finally, ostriches are supposed to be one of the most stupid animals on the planet, with an eye that's bigger than its brain. But anyway, that's the end of the day.